Okay, so we're going to look at the idea of gradient. Okay, so gradient is how steep something is. So if we look at a linear line, for example, here, we can see that it's rising. So this one has a positive gradient. If it was going this way, down this way, and descending, because remember, we're reading it from left to right. If it's descending, it'd be a negative gradient. If it's just this straight line that goes straight up like this, it's what we call an undefined gradient. And if it's a flat line going through, it's a zero gradient. Okay. Now, to find the gradient, we use this formula here, which is rise over run. Okay. So rise is how much something either increases or decreases in size as it goes. Okay. And run is how far. Okay, so we look at two things when we're looking at that. We look at our line, okay, and what we do is we pick 2 points on our line, okay, and we make a triangle like this, and we see how far that distance is from here to the corner, and we can see from our Cartesian plane here that it is a section of 1. So it's a run of 1, okay. So in our run equation here, the run here is 1. Okay, now in that same distance that it runs, it has risen 2 sections here. It has risen 2, so it's 2 over 1. So our gradient for this particular line here is 2. Okay, now if you ended up with, say you ended up with something a bit more complex here, like say if it was like 2.5 and 1.8, then you get out your calculator and sort that out that way, and you'd end up with a decimal answer here. Equally, if you ended up with something that was like 7 over 3, you might end up with a mixed number answer over here if you didn't want to use a calculator to work it out. Okay. So that's rise over run, and that's gradient. Okay. Now the other thing that comes with gradient is the idea of the Y-intercept. Now the Y-intercept is where it crosses the Y. Okay, the Y line on our Cartesian plane. Okay, so you can see where this line crosses the Y. That means, okay, and we can see that where it crosses the Y is +1. Okay, +1. So that means in our equation, when we could make it, we would have a +1. Okay. Now the equation for this type of scenario is Y equals, okay, mx plus c. And the c is our Y-intercept. The m is our 2, our gradient, and our x is whatever value we give it from our Cartesian plane. So for this particular example, y would equal 2, x plus 1.